I was just wondering, how are you today?
Who wants to know?
Well, tell us, what's your name?
How should I know?
Well, let's call you Robin.
Robin? Robin? What kind of name is Robin?
Well, it's sort of springy, you know. I saw some robins outside today.
Yeah, I hate birds.
Well, do you have a favorite food?
What do you think? Carrots, of course. No, just kidding. Chocolate.
Oh, are you the Easter Bunny?
Do I look like the Easter Bunny to you? Jeez.
Well, welcome back. Hello, everybody. So here we are again. And so far we've made two puppets, two of my favorite kinds of puppets. One is the sock puppet, classic sock puppet. We made a couple of dinosaurs, if you recall. Rexy the T-Rex and Albert the Albertosaurus. And then we did that rod puppet with the hand. And we're going to use that hand again, but we're going to go back to the sock, the classic sock, and make a special new kind of sock puppet that also uses a rod for the hand. And you're going to recognize that it's going to look a little bit like a Muppet, you know? So it's a classic, beautiful puppet style that allows you to move the mouth and operate the hand, and it can be very expressive. And here's who I came up with here. This is Robin the Rabbit.
I hate that name.
Very expressive.
Yeah, speak for yourself.
Okay, well, anyway, here's some supplies you're gonna need. A sock. We got a white sock this time. Last time, we cut the sock right into the toe, right here. All right, this time we're gonna cut the sock more like across the middle. It's gonna be very interesting. All right, we're gonna stuff it to give it some shape, but we're gonna use the stuffing. I've got some pillow stuffing here we're gonna use. Now, how do we keep the pillow stuffing up in the puppet? Well, we're gonna use a little bit of needle and thread. And if you saw Robin, you can get a close-up view of his face. You can see the shape of his nose a little bit. There, you see he's got a nose and a lip. Well, we used some needle and thread to create that shape, but you know what? You don't have to. So we'll do some needle and thread, but we've also got other options for the nose. We've got a stick for the hand. I've got my favorite pair of scissors right here. And a marker if you need to trace something before you cut it, and a new tool, an X-Acto knife. Now, here's another material. Sponges. These are like cleaning sponges. If you cut these up, you can carve them into all kinds of shapes. So I've pre-cut some shapes. You're not going to watch me cut these shapes, but here's a few shapes. Here's a hand. Here's a nose. Pointy nose. Here's another nose. Round nose. We can choose. Maybe this is a horn. And then I thought of making a character that's got a bit of an underbite, and I thought of using these tusks. For eyes, I thought, what if you don't have googly eyes? And you can make a layered paper eye, just like the ones we use on the rod puppet, by taking these different colors and sticking them together. So there I've got some orange paper. You see the orange paper on the back? Orange paper, a white foam circle, a black foam circle. Here's a half circle that I cut out of purple. We'll layer that together to make some eyes. For the nose, you could use a pom-pom. I have it here just to show you. And for the eyes, you could use beads. See those little beads with holes in them? They make great eyes. And I've also got the classic googly eyes here for you if you feel like using those. I just like the way that looks when you put the googly eyes up. Now here, these are wall anchors. These could be like the fangs of a snake. Maybe we'll use those. And then the inside of the mouth, we used a pizza box earlier, a food box to create the inside of the mouth. Today I'm actually going to use a cardboard. All right, cardboard, and then I've got a piece of green foam to be the inside of the mouth. Now, we've got some craft rope that we could use for an arm, or we could use a strip of black fun fur. It's got a really strong fabric backing. Or we could use the fun fur for something else. I got a strip of white fun fur. We could use that too. Then I've got this yarn. I think it's like macrame yarn. Well, I knotted a few pieces together and frayed it, and it can become the hair of a puppet character, you know? Hey, man. One last thing, a clothespin, in case you've got some things to glue together and you want to hold them in place. A clamp or a clothespin works really well to just hold them together so you don't have to hold them with your hands for a really long time. And we're just using the glue gun. All right, glue gun, needle and thread, that's all we're using to fasten this puppet together. All right, so we're going to move in for the close-up, and I'm going to let you watch over my shoulder while I build the puppet. Okay, here we go. We've got our sock. Now I was saying, instead of cutting it across the toe, we're going to cut it here, and we're going to stuff that part of the sock. All right? Okay, so we don't want to cut it too far. Probably cut it about halfway across. Right about there. Right there. Rather too little than too much. Okay? Now we're going to take our cardboard. We're not going to use the pizza box one. We're going to take this card. And I was saying we're going to try to give it an underbite. And that means that the bottom part, we're not going to cut it right in the middle. We're rather going to cut it a little bit to one side of center. So if this is center, we're going to cut it maybe right here to give it a bit of an underbite. All right? With cardboard, you cut halfway through. Let's do it like this. We'll cut halfway through. All right? We didn't even cut through the back side. And now we fold it. You see that? That's the beauty of cardboard. That's all we need this knife for today. You can use a box cutter or something else too. So instead of doing an overbite like Robin had with the top teeth sticking out over the bottom, we're going to do an underbite like this, okay? And we're going to glue it in just like we glued in the other puppet. Just like our first sock puppet. This part's the same. So we're going to put that mouth in there the way we planned it. So again, I start in the middle, just try to keep it neat. All right, once I've got it in place, I'm going to just try to glue a little closer to the edge. I might put it right onto the foam in this case. Now remember, we have our underbite, so let's just see how that looks when we put it on. Oh yeah. How about that? All right, there's a bit of a fold there, but there we go. We've got some fabric to work with. And we've got a bit of an underbite on the character. My fingers form a bit of a nose there. That's pretty satisfying, eh? Hello. All right, so next, we're gonna take some of this stuffing. We've got some stuffing from a cushion or something like that. Shove the stuffing right in there and fill up the top of that head. It's great. Now it's probably going to stay right where it is. You see that? It's kind of a bulgy head, which looks hilarious, but now you've got the chance of making more of a human face. You could also add something to the bottom, but we're not going to bother with this puppet. We're just going to work on the top. Give it a top. The chin, you can make a chin with your thumb here if you like. All right, there it is. Whoa, yeah, man. So how do we keep that stuffing from falling down the sock? Well, that's where the needle and thread comes in. We're going to try this. We're just going to do some loose needle and thread right through there, and it's going to hold it in place. Okay? We're going to not bother with the lip because we're going to use our own fingers for the lip. But we're just going to try to hold it in place and then maybe give it some ears. Where should those ears go? Let's just experiment. So here's our needle and thread. Prepare to thread, and I'm going to pull it so that the thread, so I have a few inches of thread at the end, okay? With a simple little stitch here. You see that? Yeah, okay. Pull it, and we're going to leave a little bit for later, because maybe we'll tie it back onto the string at the end. Okay, now, we're going to just run this through the head, all right? Let's say we'll run it through to there. We don't really want it to show. What we just want to do is hold that stuffing in place just a little bit. You don't really need to do this part, so we're not going to take too much time, but we do want to capture some of that stuffing. All right. I might do one more all the way through here. And we'll go back to where we started, which is pretty much right down here. And we'll do another knot. Okay. We'll do another double square knot. There, a couple of half hitches, and we've got a knot right there. Okay, we'll cut that off with our favorite pair of scissors. We'll just cut that short. Just leave a 1/4 inch on it or so. Now we've got this attached, so we might as well keep it attached and think about that first ear. So we're going to put the ear maybe right up here, okay? We're just going to go back in. Once we get here to the spot at the bottom of the ear, we're going to do another knot. I'm just going to do a triple knot right there. Anchor it. Okay, so now we want to pinch some ear business here and see what happens. A bit of an ear there. A little funny looking. So let's just put a knot in it. And we'll move across to the other side of the head and see what we can do. Alright, we're going to cut right through to the other side. The other side's right about here. So now we're starting at the top. I'm going to pinch some of this stuffing. So what you're trying to do is just capture some of the stuffing in between the piece of the fabric. Okay. We'll say that's enough. Do one more knot. Do a triple loop knot. 1, 2, 3. Tie it, pull it snug. Did I do it okay? Yes. That is good enough. Alright. It's not a sewing project after all. Not primarily. Okay, so we've got a bit of ear action there. A little bit. Okay, what have we got? What are we working with? You'll still feel the foam in there, the stuffing. So now we're going to hot glue some features onto him. Yeah, this part's really fun, and I've prepared some features for us. All right, I've got these fangs, these tusks here, but I also want to have a row of jagged teeth, kind of like that bottom teeth that are just a little bit mean and rough. So I'm going to cut a piece from this pink foam strip here. All right, just a small little piece. And I'm going to cut it into jagged teeth, all right? So, something like this. I don't want to cut all the way through. Okay, so here we've got our teeth, and we're going to start with that row of teeth on the bottom, and that'll give us some spacing ideas, I think. Okay, now this tusk, which way is it going to go? Backwards is good. Backwards, yeah. Backwards looks good from the side at least. So, here we go. Do another one on this side. I'm even going to squeeze them in a little bit, just so that that glue goes into the pores of the sponge, into all those cavities in the sponge. Oh yeah, we've got some serious fang action going on here. So now we don't want him to poke his own eyes out, so we'll be careful where we put the eyes. Now let's make a commitment to the nose. This is the nose that I thought we would use. It's sort of a Gonzo the Great nose from the Muppets. It's a nose like this, long nose. Looks kind of like a carrot though now that I put it on. Another option for a nose is this rounded one. Could do a cute little round nose like that. There's another option, round nose. Or we could do the pom-pom nose. Could do just a pom-pom. So I think maybe the round nose is the way to go. It's cute. We'll put it right in the middle, like that. Now let's build these eyes, okay? We've got an orange eyeball here and an eyebrow, a foam circle. So we're going to start by making that black foam circle just a little off center. All right, and then we're going to put that one on this one, just a little off center. We'll put the eyelid over it. Just a little bit of hot glue on the back of the eyelid. And there we've got an eye. So now we're going to make a matching eye for the other side. matching eyes. I think we'll position them sort of like this. Yeah. Now the blue. Can we have a blue lip? All right. I think a blue lip looks great. We're just going to smooth out the bottom edge of it. And you know what? We're going to stick it on. Sometimes when I'm not sure if it's going to look right, I just keep on adding. Sometimes you feel like, well, it should have some simplicity to it. But then other times you just keep adding until you feel like, well, that's about as far as I'm going to get with this. And sometimes the more you add on, the better it looks. It really does sometimes happen. So this lip is going to be just give it a nice bottom lip. We're going to give it a top lip to match. Your imagination brings the puppet to life. And if it's got some square shaped parts, well, that's okay. Now how about some hair? Let's give this guy some hair. Yeah, I think that hair works just perfectly. So we're just going to put that hair right on the top of the head. A single piece. And we'll let the hair sort of fall where it wants to fall. What have we so far? You can hardly see the ears that I gave him, but there he is. Yeah. I like him. His hair sort of falls into his eyes. Maybe we'll put a bit of glue, keep it out of his eyes. And there he is. Yeah. Yeah, man. It looks a little bit monstrous. So now we're going to give him an arm. Let's see what kind of arm we want him to have. So first of all, we're going to give him a couple of little fang teeth. All right, with some of these pink triangles we got. Just to add a little bit of fun personality. So there's a fang tooth right there. Okay, there we got a couple of fang teeth, just to add a little more personality to his face. Okay, and we're gonna let him sit right there. You can look at him as much as you want. And we're going to add, we're gonna take the foam hand. Well, here it is. We take the foam hand and we're gonna put it on the end of the stick. All right, a bit of hot glue there. Hot glue on all sides. There goes the stick. There it is. All right, so we'll give him a left arm. Here's what I did with the last puppet. I had to position it and decide where the shoulder would be. So if I'm holding it on this hand, the arm's going to be here. The shoulder is going to be right about there. Don't want it too close to the mouth, right? We're going to put it right there. Okay, so I'm pinching it. I know where the shoulder is. I'm going to use a clothespin to position it. That's where the shoulder's going to go. So we're going to put a nice generous circle of hot glue right there. And that shoulder piece is going to go right onto it. Right on it, like that. I'm going to squeeze it together a little bit. All right, in fact, I'm going to use the clothespin and squeeze it in place, all right, until it decides to hold. All right, we're just going to let that sit there for a while. Now, the hand itself, we're going to attach it here in a similar fashion. All right, so we'll just put glue on here. We've got our craft rope. Position the craft rope over it on both sides. Try not to burn yourself there. Now, I decided to use a little bit of white fur just to give it some body and shape here. And so the fur I thought would go in the bottom of the rope. Looks like hairy arms, sort of. Okay, so I'm going to put a bit of glue at one end here to show where this furry journey begins. We'll use the fur to hide that glued part a little bit. All right, and then we're going to run the fur along the bottom of the rope. You can see how a lot of hot glue gets used in a project like this. And if we were going to do this in a factory or make a whole bunch of them, maybe for a show, you might want them to be stronger and quicker, so you might find a way to use a sewing machine and stitch some of this. It's a lot of laborious hot gluing, but you know, it's a one of a kind, so sometimes the glue is very satisfying. Because you can make quick decisions and then discover how you like it. It's like a three-dimensional collage sometimes, especially if you're using found objects that you have around the house. And you might not have these things around the house, but that's one of the reasons why we did the eyes out of paper and foam. Just thinking maybe you don't have a supply of googly eyes at home. You know, who keeps a drawer full of googly eyes? I mean, I do, but who else does? And we're going to cut that off just a little bit shy of there. Just enough to give it a little bit of a hairy armpit here. And you know, just to add a little bit of fur to the end here, I'm going to just use this last piece that I have. Why not? Give you a little tuft of fur right there by the arm. Okay, and now I've got an extra piece that I've set aside here for the beard. We're just going to make a little beard. Very quick. Right across the bottom. Just like that. And I think that our character is finished. So let's just put it on here.
Oh yeah, man. Groovy, man. Groovy.
And see that you've got the foam, the foamy hand. Let's see. Well, the hair looks great on the arm, I think. And, you know, a little bit of extra fur on this hand here might be a good idea, but basically he's right there. Yeah. And that's a sock puppet that uses... It's a complex sock puppet. Yeah. You might take a marker and color this part black. Add a little bit of fur there. Take a look, see if it's what you like. Add to it, man.
Add to me, man. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See you later.